So what do you think Biden's incentive is to let this border crisis rage? What do you think he gets out of it?
Power.
It's all about power?
It's all about power.
Yeah.
He's speaking to a Marxist base that wants to be a Venezuela. They want the worst way to be a Venezuela. Yeah. Because why?
Look at the grocery stores.
Okay, so let's go back to the Hamiltonian version of America. A national government with consolidated power. Okay? Mm-hmm. The Jeffersonian version is a state government with distributed power. Right. The two are diametrically opposed. Mm-hmm. All right? Well, the Marxists love Hamilton because the fewer people who are at the top with power, the happier they are because they're in the power club. Everybody else, it's like, no. You are not going to be permitted to eat sugar. You are not going to be able to vote. You are not going to be able to vape or whatever they call it. They're going to control your life because they can live your life so much better than you can. Well, we're calling people out for that. You know, this is each individual in this country has a personal franchise. The vote is suffrage, universal suffrage. Every one of us has a vote, okay? Yeah. And when a legitimate vote is nullified by an illegitimate voter, that is the denial of universal suffrage. And that is one of the things that we are taking on head on with this We Stand America event. Mm-hmm. Now, you referenced the tour. That is one event that will be under the larger umbrella of the Take Action Tour. So takeactiontour.us. Right now that URL is aimed at the one event that we're promoting. But this is going to be similar to the events that we want to hold in 26 states. And yes, we're going to kind of go in a big circle. We'll be in Texas first and then go over Louisiana and probably Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, on up the eastern seaboard. The intention is to go to Atlanta. Marty Harbin in Atlanta is one of the guys carrying the Arizona bill for the broad ballot fraud countermeasures bill for the folks in Georgia. Then we'll go to South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Gettysburg, Nashville, Columbus, Toledo, just kind of down through. We're going to just meander on for 26 states. Yeah. And then that's phase two, okay? And then many of us will have to come home and campaign for this next election. Now, right. We've got to wrap that up in June. Campaign goes from June until November when we finally sort this out. After that, phase three starts. And that is where we hit all 48 states and see to it that every voter has the opportunity to have full transparency, full spectrum transparency, from the printing of the ballot paper all the way to the counting of the vote. And if you don't have that, I mean, in elections, the vote should be very private. But the counting of the vote can't be. It's got to be very public. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying, that's what we're aiming at. And that's one of the things that I guess have become the national spokesman for stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Like, why wouldn't you want to have this? You don't want some joker that's not qualified to be, who didn't really win an election. Mm-hmm. You don't want him in that seat, do you? Really?
Yeah. Backtracking just a little bit, we're hearing all that you're doing about election integrity, but also bringing in the border crisis to that. As a representative that you are, what are you doing to start addressing that issue? Obviously, the situation's very bad.
Right.
So what are specific measures that you're taking right now?
Well, we've encouraged the governor to act under some specific powers. Ken Cuccinelli spoke to that earlier today. Specific powers that are retained in the United States Constitution for the states. We have, for I think the third year in a row, we have a record surplus. It's not like we don't have the money. In fact, the governor talked about $1 billion he wants to throw at infrastructure, roads and bridges and highways. If we don't have a secure border, if we don't have, maybe a better way to say it is, if we don't have operational control over the interior of our border, we don't have a country. Mm-hmm. We have people who are coming into this country from active nation states who have declared war on us. Iran, Yemen. I mean, we had December 13th, I think it was. Yemenis terrorist, identified, comes across the border wearing a New York EMS uniform.
We covered that.
Yeah.
I know you did. That's where I saw the story.
From Uzbekistan. I was talking to the Yuma sheriff the other week.
Yeah. Okay, so
scary.
These are people who hate us, who have declared war on us. And now we've got an administration in office that just open the doors. It's like the welcome wagon. It's like, come on in. Oh, we're just going to love you into loving us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Nancy Pelosi calls MS-13, oh, they're just underprivileged children. Yeah, Nancy, they're underprivileged children. They gut you like a fish if you looked at them wrong.
Mm. So what is the number one thing that needs to be done?
Number one, we need to beef up our sheriffs and their ability to hire. Now, you know, the media has done such a grand job, present company excluded, has done such a grand job of vilifying the law enforcement community. You know, I'm 21 years a DPS officer in West Michigan. I couldn't do the job today the way I did the job when I retired in 1999.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I watch what these young men and women are going through, and it does not surprise me that we have a problem with recruiting. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to push back against organizations, you know, for example, Phoenix City Council. They want to turn get this drives me nuts. They want to turn their elected responsibility of oversight of the police department over to a unelected, unaccountable board. No, they say, well, they'll be accountable to. No. That's your job. Because they don't want to take the heat if they have a police officer who's involved in an unjust shooting. Well, if you don't want to take the heat, get out of the office.
Yeah.
That's what you
Shouldn't be
signed up
elected.
for.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think that, you know, to answer your question squarely on what do we need on the border, funding. There's actually a proof of concept that I've been advocating with a couple of other legislators, Senator Borelli and Representative Biasucci, that provides overwatch. I mean, we're talking about extremely high definition drones that are able to view somebody coming across the border, tag them, and track them. Today, the program is they come across the border, they trip a camera, and then you have a team that goes out and tries to find them. They got to crawl over rock piles, they got to go up mountains, they got to go down into ravines, and they got to walk through the pucker brush. Time out. It's time to work smarter, not harder.